and welcome to WombTube, and today it's me, Rachel Eyre from thehealthyroom.com, and I'm with Melanie Swan of thesacredroom.com, and also, more excitingly, the online Moonlodge.com. We're here for me to interview Melanie about the online Moon Lodge. What is a Moon Lodge? Because so many people have no idea what it is. Why online, and give people a flavour for what it is and what it can do for them. So Melanie, hello and welcome.
Hey Rachel, thank you.
Thank you for joining me. So my first question to you is, what's a Moon Lodge? For someone that has no clue, has never heard of it before.
Okay, so a Moon Lodge is a place where women gather on the new or full or dark moon, and traditionally, like in the past, let's take the Native Americans. Not that everything was perfect, right, in their culture, because it's often very romanticized, but for example, the Native American women, they lived in community, and in the dark moon, because the women live so closely together, generally our periods sync up. So we tend to bleed when we're in tune with the moon and live in close quarters. We tend to bleed around the dark or new moon. So they used to be relieved of their duties, their chores, the childcare, and go into a lodge at the edge of the community and just be for a few days. Release the blood, relax, and because moontime initiates us into being able to see a different reality, their moontime was utilised as a resource for the community. So they used to be asked to vision, meditate, muse on problems in the community, or ask for visions about where to move forwards, so on and so forth. Okay, so their moontime was very respected, and it was utilised and integrated into part of daily living. So the women would go off into this moon lodge, and I'm not saying this is one painting a picture of everyone sat round and meditated. I've kind of had a little glimpse as to what it used to be like. And, you know, things get sorted out during moontime because we've got no filter on of our emotions anymore, or a significantly reduced filter. Mm-hmm. So problems in the community would be sort of thrashed out and between people, and there would also be quiet times and different advice from different ages of members to the younger ones, and learning from the younger to the older. So it was a real place of women's wisdom, and it was respected and supported by the men, which is totally awesome. Didn't make everything perfect, but it meant that the women were healthier. It was a healthier respect and view and experience of moontime.
And actually, when you think about how we're built, our hormones are lowest at that point. You don't want to be doing physical work at that time.
Of course you don't.
So I'd love that.
Well, there is quite a big movement that's called the Red Tents, and Deanna Lamb started that, and her vision was like a red tent in every neighbourhood, which is awesome. That's initiated lots of new red tents popping up, and Red Tent is kind of the same as a moon lodge, a place for women to gather around the new or the dark moons and sit together and practice together, because also, when we practice together, when we meditate or do creative exercise or anything, or set our intention, we get us on our own. Yes, powerful, it works, but then it's amplified if we do it in circles. So it also helps us come together as women and really dissolve that hierarchical structure that we've accepted, and move more into a circle where each of us holds. It's like holding a different piece of the jigsaw puzzle of wholeness. So if we can all be in our own vibe, we all have our own mojo, or whatever you want to call it, and we bring that forward to the circle, then it's going to slot together and work with other women, and we can all offer something, no matter how old we are, no matter what's happened to us, and we're all learning and sovereign beings.
Okay. So that sounds actually like a lovely, warm, cozy environment, a really nice concept. It's going to sound a bit silly. How does that work online?
Okay, well, the reason I started the online Moonlodge will probably give you an idea, is that I run the sacredwomb.com, and there's lots of like free resources on there and exercises to do and full moon, dark moon, new moon ceremonies. And the feedback women gave me was that it's really great. Where can I get more of this? Because I forget the moon sometimes, and when do I set my when do I give gratitude? And I need some help with this. I need to help implement it in daily life. It's fine for me. It's my thing. I'm bringing it through. I remember the moon. Sometimes I forget, right? But I live it day to day. I can't help but live it. It's coming through my womb. But women who want to engage with it, but their thing is another thing, but they want to incorporate it into their daily life and really live in tune with their cycle and gather together with other women. Sometimes there isn't a red tent in the area, and what happened was I listened to my customers basically, and they said, we want more of this, and we want something that's consistent, so that when this stuff starts working, because it does work, and it starts to break down our illusions, and we start to really utilize our moon time and our cycle to let go and move emotional charge, we need support. It's very important that we support each other with this. So I kind of thought, cool. And I'd had this idea a couple of years ago that there would be a space on the Sacred Womb that was like for sort of members only, if you like, and a place where people could go, women could go and share privately and sit in circle together. And I mean, I've travelled a lot and I've done a lot of different workshops in person and stuff, but now I really like to work online. And the other thing was, it felt very, very important to me to have women in there, to offer a space where women could meet that were from different cultures. Now that might be one from Germany, one from America, one from Austria. It doesn't mean wildly different from Aboriginal and this and that, but that's cool if it is. It means that we start to meet each other because we're all the same underneath, with our different kind of looks and our cultural conditioning. It means we start to dissolve those barriers that have built up, and we not only support each other into our power, but we also kind of get a different view on the world. When we travel, I've experienced this and I've seen other people who travel, like it genuinely opens the mind. And so that's why the online Moonlodge is online, because it's there for a global community of women to gather together and use their moon and menstrual cycles for growth and empowerment, and to awaken the Sacred Womb Centre. And what happens when that happens and what we can do both in our personal life, in our businesses, in our communities, to actually implement that. And we need each other. We actually need each other to go forward with that. Because apart from the fact that once your illusion starts to break down and the old emotional charge moves out, it can be pretty difficult and amazing to celebrate those things that are happening. And also, we don't have really many genuine women leaders as role models. Our generation are the ones that are breaking these molds. I mean, some women have been breaking them for a long time, but as a mass consciousness, there's a wave of women awakening. Yes. So I built the online Moonlodge as an online structure because I could feel the need as well for it. So yeah, I really took my time. I took 2 years to actually brew the idea and check, is it still what people want, and listen to my customers. And not only built it physically online, but I spent a long time building that structure within myself and building my own foundations for it, and communing with spirit and seeing what's needed and bringing all that energy, bringing that inspiration down into this physical reality. So yeah, it's been quite a long process really, and it's been open for a couple of months now, and it's still, when I opened it, I felt like I'd given birth. I could, like, my psyche was just like stretched wide open. I have empathy with people who've physically given birth, but it really was birthing a new thing. So does that answer your question?
It does. It gives me some idea of, because when you were giving this lovely picture of everyone sort of in a tent, you know, doing things together in sisterhood, it's a lovely idea, but then you think, well, how does that work online if you need to be physically in the same space?
Yeah.
So that does give me a good idea. So if I was to log in, what is physically there? What would I get?
Oh, okay. So just picking up on your other point, the way we do come together is online. I mean, we've used Skype and use like a webinar software as well, so that we can all sit in circle and talk to each other, and we do that twice a month. On the full moon and either the dark or the new moon, so that we're actually connecting with each other, we're talking to each other, and we do womb practices together. It's been pretty funky, some of the things that are starting to happen, you know, but it's nice and slow and steady. So we've just been recently working with a turtle spirit, and Turtle's medicine is slow and steady wins the race. So to answer your question more directly, so when you log in, there's like the lodge center. That's essentially like your dashboard where everything is, and there's little admin stuff like a section for your account, and there's what's new, and then there's an opening chant as well to help you get in the zone, because we can all kind of surf the internet and think, oh, I'll have a look at the Moonlodge now, but it takes a little shift of mindset to really connect with ourselves once we've been on the net for a while. So there's like an opening chant
from the outside world, everything coming in, bills, pictures of cats, what your friend's doing, you need to cook dinner. It gets rid of all that and focuses you on just getting you into the mindset for the self-development. Would that be right?
Yes. Okay. Exactly right, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it kind of brings everything in, and it's a chant of unification, so that can be played just to help get you in the zone. Then there's some different sections, but the main one really is the medicine bundles and the live workshops.
Tell me about medicine bundles.
I love this term. Medicine, when it first happened, I was thinking, what am I going to call these? Because they're essentially like courses, little healing.
When you say medicine, do you mean like Native American medicine spirit rather than like Western medicine stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. So they're medicine bundles, and each month a new one comes out, and the live workshops are on that topic. But for someone who's like going to join in 2 months or something, you can go back and do them as you wish, or work together with the group as well. It doesn't. It's whatever works for you, so there's nothing fixed. But inside the medicine bundles, there's an introduction video, and then there's a totem spirit for each one, just to help, kind of the totem spirit sort of sets the scene. It brings in the energy for whatever's needed to support that vibe, that topic. And then there's some moon medicine wheel wisdom, and then we get into the meat of the topic. So say this month is healing the mother line. There's a guided soul retrieval, an exercise to reclaim our energy, from giving too much and from our ancestral line. A couple of live workshops where we've done one already, which we did live healing with Turtle. Turtle's so sweet. It kind of came in and swam through our line. Very, very gentle, actually. And so they're basically guided meditations, videos, stories, chants, and different. There's a variety of media in there, so it kind of makes it a lively way to learn and grow.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And you've also got different forums as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's when I asked women what they wanted. I said, do you want a Facebook group or do you want a private forum? And everyone went, forum. Everyone.
Yeah, and I can see the advantage, because Facebook groups, they're wonderful in some ways, but you can find that I know if they're set to private, people can still see you remember, and you might feel a bit embarrassed or something, or you can then set it to secret and then people can't find them. So I can see the benefit of that, because it's nice to be able to go and share something, especially if it's something that's quite personal or raw, and know that no one else other than those who have opted in to share the same things can view exactly what you've said.
Yeah, it's really important, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, because we're all used to being on Facebook and posting and stuff like that, but it actually makes the sharing more focused and more grounded. And it is private as well. It's the whole site is secure and no one can see it. I went to great lengths to make sure that was as secure as it possibly could.
Which is wonderful. So I think I've got a fairly good idea of what it entails. If anyone wants to join, where do they find you? Are there certain sign-up times? Can they join at any point? How does it work if I want to become a member?
Yeah, if you want to become a member, I made it $29 a month, right? So that was really important, that it was like something that was accessible. It wasn't a big cost, like I've got to take this course. It's something that, because when we do our womb work, when we do our healing work, when we're trying to really genuinely shift our reality and integrate something into our lives that becomes second nature, we need to do it consistently. That doesn't mean you have to do it every day, and if you don't, it doesn't work. But we need that level of consistency, and a supportive consistency that slowly helps dissolve all the other stuff, all the crap, and lets us shine. So I made it $29 so that people can sign up, and it's something that's really doable. But for more information, you can go to theonlinemoonlodge.com, and the lodge is open for 4 days every new moon. And then after that, it's closed for the rest of the moon cycle, because if we're like mid-cycle and we're doing a full moon ceremony or a dark moon ceremony, it's not really the appropriate time for someone to be introducing themselves and saying, hey, and what am I? Like, I was really clear that these foundations are very strong, because I could feel more and more women will join over time, and the boundaries need to be super clear, especially because we're online as well. We can't clarify these every time in circles. So the boundaries are really clear, the structure is really clear, and you can join for every new moon for 4 days, except for because we go in cycles of topics. So 1 month, a medicine bundle is released on attuning. So attuning with the cycle, attuning with the moon, attuning with ourselves. It's something to do with our moon time or our cycle or our menopause. The second was a healing bundle, so that we can really go inwards. The third one is a self-care bundle. And that's, when I say self-care, it's stuff that really genuinely turns our energy towards us, inwards, and we do things that actually shift our mothering of ourselves, essentially.
Self-care is so important. That's one thing I'm always banging on about to my clients.
So important, isn't it? And if done consistently, that is when a lot of the healing work happens, because we actually start to relax, we pull our energy in, and we're focused.
I don't think people
within.
realise that you can start self-care with 30 seconds a day, every day. You can just start there. It will
Yeah,
grow once you've started.
it
It's
totally will.
amazing what self-care can do.
Yeah, it's amazing results, isn't it?
Mm.
And when I drop my self care off a little bit, things kind of okay, I need to press the reset button on this. Things go to pot a little bit, but
Absolutely.
and then the fourth month we do awaken in the sacred womb. Now the lodge is not open at all for that fourth month because I only want to be working with women in that who've done some previous stuff in the lodge because it works. It's powerful stuff, and we need to be prepared for it. There needs to be some prep in the psyche, in the body, in our physical reality, and if you just start
Tools,
shifting
don't
your
you, before you
realities
start?
quite dynamically, it can be a bit ungrounded, and then people kind of like, freak out a bit sometimes, or get really scared,
Yeah,
and then they won't go back for a while. So it's really, I'm trying to do it very responsibly.
absolutely. I
So
should point out as well, you do have a professional background,
yeah.
so you do understand psychotherapy a lot more than the average person. Do you want to just quickly give a brief overview of that, just so people know that you do know what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did work, when I first left college, I worked in marketing for 5 years. So that actually did really help me to build the lodge and get it out there and stuff. But then at 26, I quit that, and I'd always done a lot of acting when I was younger. But then I trained in drama therapy for 2 years and did my placements in mental health hospitals and schools and stuff. And yeah, and then I worked for Barnardo's, which is a large charity in the UK, as a family worker, as support for teachers, and did training. And I worked with children as well. And then I worked for social services as a therapist with children in care, foster carers, teachers, and social workers. So, yeah, I've had a lot of professional training that's very grounded, very rooted in this reality and in psychotherapy. But then I knew there was more, but I knew I got a good grounding. So I started to do some shamanic camps and because I'd cleared a lot of the path. I had 7 years of weekly therapy. It was a lot of therapy, group therapy and this therapy and body therapy. I tried, and really did so many things then. My senses, everything just started to open up really naturally, which was wonderful. So that I got that really grounded base, and years of working with people, I could simply implement it, and it just came through, which was awesome. So yeah, I've seen what works, I've experienced what doesn't work so well, and yeah, it was time for me to bring all that together and birth this new unique consciousness, and to build something that people could really utilise to grow and become empowered.
Wonderful. And I think there's a lot of research coming out at the moment, like from the show presenter, about how Western science and psychotherapy and neuroscience is backing up everything that people have been doing with meditation for thousands of years. So
Yeah.
that completely makes sense to me that the two would mould so well together, despite, I know from an outside point you might be thinking of psychotherapy, spirituality, the two do mesh together very well.
Yeah, they in fact really can't be separated, because one of the mistakes people make sometimes, and I've gone there a little bit myself, so I know, is to think spiritual development is separate from personal development, and we go on a bit of a spiritual trip, and hopefully we come back and we get more grounded in our bodies and this reality, and realise we do the inner work and we clear the path to what's already there anyway, so we open up like that.
Great. Okay, I think this is a great time to wrap up. So Melanie, thank you for sharing with us, because I really wanted some more clarity on what the Moonlodge was and what it involved, and thank you for doing your amazing work.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. Thanks for asking. Really cool questions. I love talking about it, and I'm thinking,
I can
God, am I
tell.
boring people now? Have I talked to I'm at a party or something like that? But yeah, I'm very passionate about it, but I feel a lovely peace with it
Good.
as well. But thank you very much for interviewing me.
Great. So if you want to get in on the Moonlodge action, it's www.theonlinemoonlodge.com,
It
and you
is.
can also find Melanie at thesacredroom.com.